Your presence is not ordinary. It's not casual, and it's not to be handed out freely without thought. It's a gift. But too many people don't realize that until it's gone. When you walk into a room, you shift the energy. When you speak, your words linger. When you show up, people notice, even if they act like they don't. And that's where the problem begins. Because the more consistent you are, the more present you are, the more people start to assume you'll always be there. They stop paying attention. They stop appreciating. They stop seeing you for the rare treasure that you are, and they start treating you like background noise. Think about how people treat light. At sunrise, it's breathtaking. People stare at the colors, take pictures, stop for a moment in awe. But by noon, nobody's looking up anymore. The sun is still there, still blazing, still giving life, but it's ignored because it's constant. That's how presence works. The more you give it, the less it's noticed. And it's not because you're any less powerful or any less bright. It's because people stop looking at what they assume will never leave. You see it in relationships. At first, someone loves everything about you. They love your kindness, your laughter, your consistency. But as time passes, if you never pull back, if you never create space, they start taking it as a given. The laughter they once cherished becomes just noise in the background. The kindness they once praised becomes an expectation. The loyalty they once respected becomes something they no longer even thank you for. And you start to wonder, why don't they see me anymore? Why don't they appreciate me the way they used to? It's not that you've changed. It's that you've been too present, too consistent, too available. And this is the hard truth. People don't value what they can always reach. They don't treasure what they assume will never leave. That's why the diamond locked away in a case feels priceless. And the pebble on the sidewalk gets stepped on every day. It's not about the stone itself. It's about perception. It's about scarcity. It's about how much people believe they need to fight to keep it. When your presence is everywhere, it feels like a pebble. But when your presence is controlled, when it's intentional, when it's rare, it becomes a diamond. So what does this mean for you? It means you need to stop treating your presence like a discount store. Open 24/7. Available to everyone who walks, and you need to treat it like fine art, like something valuable, something people should feel grateful to experience. You don't need to disappear. You don't need to play cold, but you do need to understand that not everyone deserves constant access to you. You need to show up with intention, with strength, with purpose, so that when you are there, people feel it. They don't just glance over it. They stop and they pay attention. And here's the beauty of it when you do this. People start remembering what you mean to them. They notice the warmth of your presence because it's no longer taken for granted. They notice your energy because it isn't scattered everywhere. They notice your time because you no longer give it without thought. And that's when appreciation grows. That's when your presence regains its power. Think about how it works with music. If a song plays on the radio all day, every day, people get tired of it. But let that same song disappear for a while and then hear it again after months. Suddenly it feels fresh. It feels alive. It stirs emotions. That's not because the song changed. It's because the listener changed. Distance created value. Scarcity created gratitude. And you are no different. When your presence is rare, when it's intentional, when it's not just a given, people don't get tired of you. They treasure you. The question is, are you willing to step back enough to let people notice you again? Are you willing to stop giving your energy to everyone, everywhere, all the time? Are you willing to protect the gift of your presence, to hold it like something sacred? Because if you are, you'll start to see a shift. You'll see people lean in when you walk in. You'll see them listen closer when you speak. You'll see them realize that what you bring isn't casual, it's rare. Your presence is power. But that power weakens when it's everywhere, when it's constant, when it's assumed. Protect it, value it, guard it, because the world doesn't need more noise. It needs more moments that stop people in their tracks. And you are one of those moments. So let them miss you. Let them feel the difference when you're not around, and then watch how much more they honor you when you return. Now let me ask you, are you ready to make your presence so valuable that when you're gone, they can't help but notice? Silence has a way of saying everything that words cannot. You don't always have to speak to be heard. You don't always have to argue to prove a point. You don't always have to explain yourself to be understood. sometimes the most powerful statement you'll ever make is the one you never say. And when you learn how to master that, when you learn how to step back, to go quiet, to let the air carry the weight of your absence, you'll see just how much louder silence can be than any word that could leave your mouth. Think about how people react when a room that was once full of sound suddenly goes quiet. Everybody notices. The quiet makes them shift in their seats. It makes them uncomfortable. It makes them wonder what changed. That's the effect you have when you stop speaking, when you stop reaching out, when you stop explaining. The people who thought they could ignore your voice start to miss it the second it's gone. The people who thought your calls or your presence didn't matter suddenly feel the void in the space you used to fill. Silence has a way of making people realize what they took for granted. Have you ever been in a situation where you poured your heart out trying to make someone understand you? You repeated yourself, you raised your voice, you begged them to see your perspective, and still nothing changed. Then one day you stopped talking, you stopped pleading, you stopped giving them explanations they didn't deserve. And it was in that silence, not in your words, that they finally began to notice. They finally began to think. They finally began to realize the weight of what you were trying to say all along, because silence forces reflection in a way that sound never can. Your silence is not weakness. Don't let anyone fool you into believing that. Silence is not surrender. Silence is strength. It takes strength to hold your tongue when you want to lash out. It takes strength to step back when you want to prove your point. It takes strength to let someone sit with the emptiness of not hearing from you instead of filling that space with words that fall on deaf ears. And that strength is what makes silence so powerful. It makes the other person carry the weight of your absence instead of you carrying the burden of constantly trying to be heard. Look at history. Look at the moments that shook people to their core. It wasn't always what was said. It was what wasn't said. A pause before a sentence, a quiet moment after a storm, a stillness that made everyone feel something deep inside. Silence speaks to the heart because it leaves room for people to hear their own thoughts, their own guilt, their own memories of you. And when someone sits in silence, that's when they start to realize just how much your voice meant, just how much your presence filled a space, just how much they miss what they no longer have. And here's the thing, when you go silent, people start to fill in the blanks themselves. They start asking, why haven't I heard from them? What are they thinking? What are they feeling? They replay the last conversation in their heads. They wonder if they pushed you too far. They wonder if they lost you. That's the power of silence. It doesn't just speak, it echoes. It makes your absence louder than your presence ever was. But silence isn't just about making others miss you. It's about giving yourself peace. It's about choosing not to waste energy on conversations that go nowhere. It's about choosing not to explain yourself to people who already made up their minds. It's about stepping away from noise so you can hear your own spirit, your own clarity, your own truth. Because when you stop talking, when you stop over-explaining, when you stop begging for understanding, you give yourself space to breathe. You give yourself space to heal. You give yourself space to grow stronger. And when you come back after being silent, your voice carries a weight it never carried before. People lean in closer. They listen differently. They pay attention because they know you don't speak just to speak. You speak with intention. Silence resets the value of your words. It makes people remember that your voice isn't something to overlook. It's something to respect. So the next time you feel overlooked, the next time someone doesn't value your words, don't fight harder. Don't shout louder. Step back. Go quiet. Let silence do the work for you, because silence can pierce hearts in ways words never will. Silence can create curiosity, regret, and reflection all at once. And when your silence is felt, when your absence is noticed, that's when people begin to truly miss you. Now let me ask you, are you willing to let your silence speak so loud that they'll never forget the sound of your absence? Scarcity changes everything. It's human nature. People don't notice what they can always touch, always see, always hold. But the second it's out of reach, the second it becomes rare, suddenly its value multiplies. The truth is, nothing abundant gets the honor it deserves. The ocean is infinite, and yet most people pass it by without a second glance. But put a single bottle of water in the middle of a desert, and suddenly that one bottle is priceless. That's not just water, it's life. And that's the way you need to start seeing yourself, not as something that's endlessly available, but as something rare, something people should feel privileged to experience. You know, why people treat gold like treasure, because it's not everywhere. You know, why diamonds sit locked in glass cases, because you can't stumble across one lying in the street. Scarcity creates respect. Scarcity forces people to slow down and pay attention. Scarcity makes people value what they overlooked when they thought it was common. And the same goes for your time, your energy, your love, your presence. If you give it away without thought, if you hand it out like it's limitless, don't be surprised when people treat it like it's nothing. Think about relationships. The one who's always there, always calling, always available. That person often gets overlooked. Their effort becomes background noise. Their consistency becomes an expectation. But the one who's not always easy to reach, the one who protects their time, the one who makes their presence intentional, that's the one people wait for. That's the one people respect. That's the one people miss, because their presence feels like a privilege, not a guarantee. And let's be clear, this is not about playing games. This is not about withholding yourself out of pride. This is about understanding that you are valuable, and valuable things aren't scattered everywhere. If you walk into a store and everything is marked down 90%, you don't treat it like treasure. But when something sits on a shelf with a high price behind a glass case, you lean in closer. You recognize it's not for everybody. That's how you need to carry yourself, not as something discounted, not as something for anyone to take, but as something rare, precious, and worth cherishing. Look at your own life. How many times have you given too much? How many times have you been everywhere for everyone all the time and still felt unappreciated? It's not that you weren't enough. It's that you were too much, too present, too constant, too easy to reach. People stop valuing you because you gave them no chance to miss you. And that's the shift. You have to stop flooding the world with yourself and start giving in measured doses. Because when people can't have all of you whenever they want, they start to cherish the moments when they do. Scarcity creates anticipation. Think about your favorite artist dropping an album. If they put out music every week, would you rush to listen? Would you even care? Probably not. But when they disappear for years, when they make you wait, when they release something only once in a while, the whole world stops to listen. People line up, people celebrate, people savor every word because it's rare, because it's not something they can get every day. And you need to understand you are that album. You are that rarity. Don't let people have you on repeat so often that they forget how special your presence truly is. And when you start to pull back, when you stop giving yourself away so freely, don't be surprised when people start chasing you. Don't be surprised when they start asking where you've been. Don't be surprised when they suddenly remember how much you meant, because scarcity wakes people up. Scarcity makes them realize that not everybody gives what you give. Not everybody brings what you bring. Not everybody shines the way you shine. And when they realize that, they'll miss you. But here's the key. You can't do it just for them. You have to do it for yourself. You have to protect your time because it's precious. You have to protect your energy because it's limited. You have to protect your love because it's sacred. When you start treating yourself like treasure, others will too. When you start moving with intention, people will start meeting you with respect. When you start creating scarcity, people will start chasing instead of you doing all the chasing. And the truth is, those who don't notice your absence, those who don't value your rarity, those who don't care when you step back, they were never meant for you anyway. Because the right ones, the real ones, will notice, they will appreciate, they will honor you the way they should have all along. So I'll ask you this, are you ready to stop being common, to stop being everywhere, to stop being overlooked? Are you ready to carry yourself like something rare, something valuable, something they can't afford to lose? Because the moment you do, you'll see how quickly people start to treasure what they once ignored. Respect starts with you. If you don't respect yourself, don't expect anyone else to do it for you. Too often, people confuse love with sacrifice, loyalty with self-neglect, giving with forgetting themselves. But if you keep showing up for people who dismiss you, if you keep pouring into people who drain you, if you keep allowing others to take more than they ever give, what you're really saying is that your worth depends on their approval. And that's not respect. That's desperation. Respect is knowing your value even when others can't see it. Respect is standing tall even when others try to make you feel small. Respect is walking away when staying would mean betraying yourself. When you let people miss you, it's not arrogance. It's not punishment. It's not ego. It's self-respect. It's saying, I am not here to beg for recognition. I am not here to be your convenience. I am not here to prove my value. I already know what I bring. And that kind of knowing changes everything, because when people feel that energy, they either step up and meet you at that level, or they step back because they can't handle it. Either way, you win. Think about it. If you walk into a room uncertain of yourself, apologizing for existing, begging for attention, people sense it. They treat you like you treat yourself. But if you walk in grounded, confident, calm, not desperate for anyone's validation, people sense that too. And suddenly they lean in. Suddenly they listen. Suddenly they treat you with the respect you carry inside yourself. The way the world sees you begins with the way you see you. Have you ever noticed how people chase what doesn't chase them? The person who is desperate to be accepted usually gets ignored, while the one who stands firm in their worth is the one others can't stop looking at. That's not because the second person is better. It's because they've drawn a line. They've said with their energy, I don't need you to complete me. I don't need your approval to validate me. I am whole already. And wholeness is magnetic. Self-respect is magnetic. People can feel it even if you never say a word. And here's the truth. If you don't set the standard for how people treat you, they will set it for you. If you accept crumbs, that's all you'll get. If you accept disrespect, it will keep coming. Magnetic. People can feel it even if you never say a word. And here's the truth. If you don't set the standard for how people treat you, they will set it for you. If you accept crumbs, that's all you'll get. If you accept disrespect, it will keep coming. If you accept being overlooked, people will continue to pass you by. But when you demand respect, not with anger, not with shouting, but with quiet confidence, with presence, with action, people have no choice but to respond. You don't need to scream your value. You need to walk in it. You need to embody. You need to show it by the way you carry yourself. And this is why stepping back is so important. It's not just about letting others miss you. It's about proving to yourself that you don't need constant validation to know who you are. When you choose to create space, when you choose silence over begging, when you choose peace over chaos, you are telling yourself, I matter. You're telling yourself, I'm worth more than what I've been settling for. And that declaration builds something inside you. It builds a backbone. It builds resilience. It builds a kind of unshakable strength that no one can take from you. People will test you. They'll see how far they can go. They'll push your limits. They'll cross your boundaries. They'll treat you as casually as you let them. And every time you let it slide, every time you excuse it, every time you smile through disrespect, you're lowering your own value in their eyes. But the moment you draw a line, the moment you step back, the moment you say without words, I will not tolerate this, the entire dynamic changes. Suddenly they see you differently. Suddenly they recognize that you're not someone to take lightly. Suddenly your worth rises, not because it changed, but because you finally showed it. Self-respect is not about pride. It's not about arrogance. It's about dignity. It's about knowing that your time, your heart, your energy, your soul are sacred. Not everyone deserves access to them. Not everyone deserves a front row seat in your life. And when you start living like that, people will either step up and value you or they'll step out. Both are blessings. Both give you the freedom to stand in your worth. So don't be afraid to let people miss you. Don't be afraid to step back. Don't be afraid to walk away from anyone who refuses to see your value. Because when you do, you're not losing, you're respecting yourself. And when you respect yourself, you teach the world how to respect you. Now, let me ask you, are you ready to start carrying yourself with so much self-respect that the world has no choice but to meet you where you stand every single day? Whether you realize it or not, you're teaching people how to treat you, not with a lesson plan, not with a lecture, but with your actions, your choices, your boundaries, and your silence. If you answer every call, no matter the time, you teach people that your time doesn't belong to you, it belongs to them. If you say yes when you want to say no, you teach people that your feelings don't matter as much as their convenience. If you keep showing up for people who never show up for you, you teach them that your loyalty is unconditional even when theirs isn't. And if you allow someone to disrespect you once and walk away without consequence, You teach them that you will allow it again. The truth is, people will only treat you at the level you allow. They will take as much as you permit. They will push as far as you let them. And if you don't draw the line, they will assume there isn't one. That's why stepping back is so powerful. That's why letting them miss you is necessary, because absence has a way of resetting the rules. It says, I'm not going to beg for your attention. I'm not going to fight for space in your life. I am not going to reward your neglect by giving you more of me. I'm going to step back and let you see the cost of losing me. That silence, that distance, that pause. It teaches a lesson no words ever could. Think about how this works in simple life examples. Imagine a friend who never contributes, who always takes but never gives. If you continue to call, to invite, to check in, you're showing them that friendship is a one-way street where they can ride for free. But stop calling, stop chasing. Let the space grow. One of two things will happen. Either they'll feel the loss, realize your presence was the glue holding everything together, and they'll step up, or they won't. And if they don't, that's your answer. That's the truth revealed. Either way, your silence teaches them that your presence is not to be played with. This applies to love too. If you keep giving more than you receive, if you keep tolerating half effort, if you keep excusing broken promises, you're teaching someone that love can be one-sided, that you'll accept whatever scraps they hand you. But when you stop chasing, when you stop begging, when you stop allowing them to treat you less than what you deserve, you change the lesson. You're teaching them that your love is valuable, your time is valuable, and if they can't meet you at that level, they don't get to have you at all. The truth is, boundaries are not about controlling other people. They're about teaching them. Every no is a lesson. Every time you step back, it's a lesson. Every time you protect your peace, it's a lesson. And people learn quickly when access to you is no longer guaranteed. They realize that you're not like everyone else. You're not desperate. You're not begging. You're not someone who will allow themselves to be walked over. You're someone who understands your value. And that understanding teaches them to value you too. And here's the part that many people don't want to hear. Some won't learn the lesson. Some will fall away when you raise the standard. Some will disappear when you create space. But that's not your loss. That's your protection. Because the ones who truly care, the ones who truly respect you, the ones who truly wanted to be in your life, they will adjust. They will rise to the standard you set. They will learn how to treat you not because you told them, but because your absence showed them. You have to remember, love without respect isn't love. Friendship without effort isn't friendship. Presence without appreciation isn't presence. It's exploitation. And when you teach people through your actions that you won't accept less than respect, less than effort, less than reciprocity, you start to attract people who can actually give it, because the wrong ones will fall away, but the right ones will recognize your value and never want to lose it. So stop teaching people that they can take advantage of you. Stop teaching them that you'll always be there no matter how they treat you. Stop teaching them that your heart, your energy, your time are free for anyone to misuse. Start teaching them that your presence is a privilege. Start teaching them that your respect for yourself demands their respect in return. Start teaching them that if they want to keep you, they need to value you. Now, let me ask you, what are you teaching people with the way you allow yourself to be treated? And are you ready to change the lesson so they never forget the worth of your presence? There's something powerful that happens when you stop making yourself so available to everyone. People start to notice. They start to realize what your presence really meant, what your energy really carried, what your love and attention really did for their life. Because as long as you're always there, always giving, always saying yes, people get comfortable. They start to think it's automatic, like the sun rising every morning. They assume you'll be there, whether they value you or not. But when you step back, when you pull your energy in, when you stop running to fix everything and carry everyone, the silence echoes louder than any words could. It forces them to sit with themselves. It forces them to look at what life feels like without you. See, absence has a strange way of sharpening people's vision. What they once overlooked becomes clear. What they once took for granted suddenly feels heavy. That text you always sent first, it's not there anymore. That call you always made to check in, it's not ringing anymore. That encouragement you always poured out, it's missing. And in that space, people start to feel the weight of your value. They start to understand that your presence wasn't ordinary. It was extraordinary, but they couldn't see it until it was gone. Think about it. The strongest lessons in life are rarely taught in the noise. They're taught in the quiet. When the music stops, when the laughter fades, when the person you leaned on is no longer standing beside you, that's when the lesson cuts the deepest. That's when reality sinks in. And that's why creating distance is sometimes the greatest gift you can give, not just to yourself, but to others, because it shows them what they've been blind to all along. Now, don't confuse this with playing games or trying to manipulate. This isn't about pretending you don't care when you do. This isn't about being cold just to prove a point. No, this is about self-respect. This is about understanding that your energy, your love, your presence, they all hold value. And if they're not appreciated, they won't be wasted. It's about saying, if you don't see what I bring to your life while I'm here, maybe you'll understand when I step away. That's not cruelty. That's clarity. That's wisdom. And here's the truth. You don't have to announce your absence. You don't have to slam doors or shout that you're gone. Just step back. Just stop overextending. Just stop pouring into places that never pour back. Let the silence speak. Let the distance teach, because people will always reveal who they are when access to you isn't unlimited. Those who value you will close the gap. They'll notice, they'll reach, they'll step up. And those who don't, they'll stay where they are. Either way, you win, because you gain peace, clarity, and protection from people who never deserved your consistency in the first place. It's like the saying, you don't know what you have until it's gone. But let me add this. You don't know who truly values you until you're no longer easy to reach. That's when the truth reveals itself. That's when masks fall. That's when intentions become clear. And the beauty of it is you don't have to force anything. You just have to let people feel the weight of your absence. When you step back, you also give yourself space to grow. You start to notice where you've been giving too much, where you've been drained, where you've been undervalued. That pause, that distance, it's not just for them, it's for you too. It helps you see who really deserves your presence and who was just comfortable consuming it. And once you recognize that, you'll never go back to giving all of you to people who only wanted a piece. So don't be afraid to let people miss you. Don't be afraid to create space. Don't be afraid to step back and let silence do the teaching. Because sometimes the loudest, I love you, the loudest, I need you, the loudest, I can't lose you, only comes after someone feels your absence. And if they don't feel it, if they don't notice, that's your answer too. Either way, your presence remains valuable and your worth remains intact. Now let me ask you, are you willing to create enough distance for people to finally see the truth of your value? Or will you keep giving yourself away to those who only recognize your presence when it's gone? One of the hardest things you will ever do in life is learn how to protect your peace. It's easy to give it away. It's easy to let people interrupt it, invade it, and drain it. But once you understand that peace is priceless, you start to realize you can't afford to give it to everyone. Not everybody deserves access to your mind. Not everybody deserves access to your time. Not everybody deserves a seat at your table, because peace is not something people hand you. It's something you fight to build. And once you have it, you have to guard it like your life depends on it. Peace doesn't always come in the form of silence. Sometimes it's loud. Sometimes it's in the decisions you make. Saying no to things that don't serve you, that's peace. Walking away from relationships that drain you, that's peace. Choosing to spend time alone to recharge instead of constantly surrounding yourself with noise, that's peace. Protecting your peace means valuing yourself enough to say, I don't have to be everywhere. I don't have to do everything. I don't have to please everyone. My spirit matters more than their approval. That's when life begins to shift. When you let people know that your peace has boundaries, you start to separate those who truly care from those who just want to use you, because the ones who care will respect it. They'll understand when you need space, when you need quiet, when you need to take care of yourself. But the ones who don't, they'll try to guilt you. They'll try to make you feel selfish. They'll say, you've changed. And you have changed. You've learned that your peace is not up for negotiation. Think about how often people burn themselves out just to keep everyone else comfortable. They show up to every call. They respond to every demand. They stretch themselves thin to be everything for everybody. And in the end, they've got nothing left for themselves. That's not strength. That's self-destruction. Real strength is being able to say, I love you, but I can't lose myself for you. Real strength is choosing rest when the world is screaming for your attention. Real strength is protecting your mind and heart, even if it disappoints others. And here's the thing, you can't wait for people to give you permission to protect your peace. They won't, because the ones who benefit from your chaos are not going to encourage your calm. You have to decide it for yourself. You have to draw the line. You have to create the distance, because peace isn't something anyone can hand you. It's something you choose. Now, protecting your peace doesn't mean cutting everybody off. It doesn't mean you stop loving people. It means you love yourself enough to set boundaries. It means you recognize when something or someone is costing you more than it's giving. It means you're willing to step back, not because you don't care, but because you care too much about your own well-being to let it be destroyed. That's not selfish. It's survival. The truth is, you can't pour into others from an empty cup, and you can't expect people to respect what you don't respect for yourself. If you don't honor your own peace, why would they? That's why it has to start with you. You have to be the one who says, this is what I will allow, and this is what I won't. And once you stand firm on that, the right people will adjust. They'll meet you at the level you demand. The wrong ones will fall away. Either way, you win because your peace remains intact. And let's be clear, peace is not passive. Peace is powerful. Peace is focus. Peace is clarity. Peace is the ability to move through storms without letting the storm live inside of you. When you protect your peace, you gain the ability to hear your own voice again. You stop reacting to everything and you start responding with wisdom. You stop chasing validation and you start standing in your truth. That's the strength peace gives you. So don't apologize for guarding your peace. Don't apologize for needing space. Don't apologize for valuing yourself enough to step back from the chaos. Because when you protect your peace, you protect your purpose. And when you protect your purpose, you protect your destiny. Now, let me ask you, are you willing to guard your peace so fiercely that no one can take it from you? Or will you keep trading it away for the comfort of others who never valued it in the first place? There comes a point when you have to understand that your worth does not rise or fall based on who chooses to see it. Your value is not up for debate. It is not something that people get to vote on. It's not tied to who accepts you or who rejects you. Too many times we tie our identity to the attention of others. And when they pull away, we feel less. When they don't call, we question ourselves. When they don't show up, we wonder if we did something wrong. But the truth is, your worth was never supposed to be in their hands. It's already stamped into you. You carry it whether they see it or not. When you let people miss you, it's not just about creating space for them to recognize what you bring. It's also about reminding yourself that their recognition is not required for your value to exist. You are not more valuable because someone finally woke up and realized how much they need you. You're valuable whether they ever open their eyes or not. That's why learning to stand firm in your own worth is so important, because if you depend on people to validate you, you'll always be at the mercy of their presence. But when you know who you are, when you know what you bring, when you know your own worth, you don't need them to confirm it. You simply allow them to experience it. Look at it like this. Gold doesn't stop being gold if someone throws it in the dirt. A diamond doesn't stop shining if it's locked away in a box. Value is value no matter who fails to recognize it. And you carry that same undeniable worth. You don't need to scream it. You don't need to beg for someone to see it. You don't need to overextend yourself trying to prove it. Just stand in it. Just know it. Because when you do, people feel it. They sense it in how you carry yourself, in how you speak, in how you refuse to settle for less than what you deserve. And here's the beautiful part. When you finally stop chasing recognition, you create room for the right people to show up, because the wrong ones will only keep taking as long as you keep offering. They'll keep consuming as long as you keep giving. But when you step back, when you stop overextending, when you stop begging for love, attention, or respect, the wrong ones will fall away. And the right ones, they will recognize your worth without you having to force it. They'll step into your life, not because you demanded it, but because they see it for themselves. That's the difference between those who truly value you and those who only use you. It's not easy to live this way. It's not easy to pull back when every part of you wants to be seen, wants to be acknowledged, wants to be chosen. But the truth is, you don't need to prove yourself to anyone. You don't need to argue for your value. You don't need to fight to keep a place in someone's life who doesn't already recognize the blessing of having you there. Sometimes the best thing you can do is walk away with your head held high and let silence speak the truth. Because in that silence, one of two things will happen. Either they will realize the weight of your absence and fight to keep you, or they will stay gone. Either way, your worth remains untouched. This is why you can't be afraid to let people miss you, because when you know your worth, you're not afraid of who stays or who goes. You're not afraid of being overlooked. You're not afraid of being underestimated. You simply stand in the truth of who you are and let time reveal it to everyone else. Some will see it too late, and that's their loss. Some will see it right away, and they'll cherish it. But you don't waver. You don't bend. You don't shrink to fit into someone else's limited view of you. You remain whole, you remain steady, you remain valuable. So stop questioning yourself, stop shrinking, stop begging, stop allowing people to define you with their inconsistency. Your value is set, your worth is permanent. And when you finally accept that, when you finally walk in it, you won't have to force anyone to notice. They'll feel it, they'll know it, and if they don't, you'll still stand tall because you already do. Now let me ask you, are you ready to stop chasing their recognition and finally stand in your worth so strongly that the world has no choice but to feel the weight of your presence?